And I finished in my job last year. I was kind of expecting to go through this retirement phase of kind of just doing nothing, traveling, seeing the world a little bit and just kind of putting my feet up. But that hasn't really been the case. That's what I wanted to talk about today. I did a first live stream this week, middle of the week, and it lasted about 90 minutes, just chatting with subscribers, viewers of this channel, open Q&A. And after I completed it, I read a comment from one of my regular viewers that said to me, "John, you've escaped the system. You've broke free of it all. Slow down and enjoy life." And honestly, that sentence, that comment has lived in my head for the last couple of days, just thinking about that, because the reality of it is that at 48 years old and now out of work for over a year, I've never felt more productive and creative than I do now. And so I was kind of thinking about that. And I guess the understanding is that for some people, leaving a job or a career or retirement means putting your feet up. But that is just not me. And so I was thinking about this. Is it like a midlife renaissance phase? Or like the third act, or I don't know what you would call it, right? But it's the kind of creativity spurt that I've gone on now. And I guess the reason that the person was talking about that, right, was that on the live stream, I was talking about this channel, how I built this from last year. And when I started it, in my head, I just thought it would give me something to do, something to focus on. And if I could help monetize it, and it brought in a little bit of money for me, that would be great. It would make my savings last longer. But a year later, as I mentioned on that live stream, I now have a second channel that I've monetized, and I've been making videos for it recently, and it's doing well. I've had over 100,000 views in the last week, which has just kind of blown my mind. And on top of that, I've created the Patreon page, and I've posted nearly 60 videos on it. And thank you to everybody that's joined there. I just talk a little bit more about some of the deeper topics, my investments and my thought process and all those kind of things. And then I've got a newsletter that I send out every week. That's going out today. And in that newsletter today, I've created a 17-page document that talks about what life's been like for the last 6 months since we left the UK. So I guess to some people that sounds like, whoa, you've left the corporate job and all you've done is give yourself multiple other jobs. But in reality, what's happened for me is that I've been able to channel all of the creativity that I would have put into a job before into myself. And for the first time in my life, I've been able to kind of explore areas that aren't confined by a corporate structure. You know, if you've worked at a business for decades, right, or you've had a career that's lasted decades, you're always within the confines of that company structure, that business structure. For me, I worked in sales for 31 years, right? But I love marketing. I love the creativity of marketing, but I would often come up against the challenges of that within a company structure. I would sit with the marketing team and talk about my ideas, and you could always tell you were getting the look like, listen, sales guy, stay in your sales channel, we're the experts over here. And I'm sure for the marketing people, they would think the same. You know, oh, why don't you do this in sales, right? And those are just the confines of that business structure. But see, now that I'm out of it, I'm able to apply all of those skills to myself. And that's where this building phase has now come from. So built this channel, got it up to the level that it's at now. I've got the second channel, the newsletter, Patreon. I'm building an app just now. You know, now that my head is clear of the insurance battles and everything that was going on there, I'm just finding myself so productive, and I'm able to just make things and test things. I have about 10 YouTube channels, things that I've tried, and when they don't work, I just move on and I think of something else, and I lean into the things that are working. And so again, to the outside viewer that watches my channel for, you know, 8 or 9 minutes of 3 or 4 times a week, it's like, God, you're doing all of these things and you're supposed to be enjoying life. But look at my office. I come up here during the day after I've been to the gym and worked out, Again, something else that I've put my mind to. I'm 2 weeks into a 28-day focus routine of just trying to be a bit healthy. And I come and sit here, right over there, with my geeky hat on out of the sun, which I've took off because I just look like a dweeb with it on. But I sit over there with my headphones in, listening to music, and Yvonne is over there. We chill in the sun, my legs in the pool, I sit in the shade, and I get my phone out and I start jotting down ideas when they come to me, and when they don't, I take a rest. But my life before was sitting at a desk in an office in London, or commuting to Germany in my last job, or sitting in a spare bedroom at a desk for 8 hours of a day. That felt a million miles away from this. And so last year, all I thought about was, could I make enough money to just try and survive on? And now I'm thinking, like, what is my full potential? What can I come up with? What ideas can I lean into? And so if you're in your 40s, 50s or 60s, like, have you gone through this phase? Have you felt that creativity? I think back to my dad before he passed away. He was a school janitor for 20 plus years, and later in life he took up photography and he became a Airdrie football team club photographer. He ran a little business, so when he retired, that became his next job. And I was so inspired by all of that, so it kind of runs in the family. Now, I know some people watching this will just think, no, I want to get out of a job and do nothing. But I hope this leans into the other people that watch this that think, yeah, it doesn't need to be sitting at a pool all day or sitting in a bar and just having a beer. That's not me. I am a very high output person, and hopefully that comes through, and I don't need anybody to worry about me or that I've taken up a new job, because this doesn't feel like a job. This feels like potential. This feels like my creativity flourishing and being able to try things out and understand what works and what doesn't, and then sharing that here. I do one-to-one calls with people that are thinking the same, and I've got to say, I think every single person that I've spoken to on one of those calls has had a similar mindset and just wants to talk to somebody that's kind of making it happen. People that are managers of businesses or running departments, or that have had long careers, that I think you kind of know everything that's going on here. And when I talk to them, they're building projects, they're building extensions on their house, or wanting to start YouTube channels and just figuring out how to make it happen. So that was what was going through my mind. That one statement, John, you've escaped. Make sure and enjoy life. This is living to me, being able to do the things that I've always wanted to without the structure of a corporate life that sits behind it, and the guardrails and the limitations that comes with. They are gone. So let me know down below. Are you feeling that? The midlife renaissance, the third act? If any of that resonates. Thank you so much for watching this, and I'll see you in the next one.